Hey, this is Rachel over at Moonlight Library. I'm here today to talk about book series that I need to finish. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe. If you're not new here, welcome back. I'm very glad to have you. So we are going to be discussing the different series that I have started, no matter where I am in the series, that I need to, at some point, finish the series. There are a good amount of them. As much as I'm like, I want to be a series book reader, at the same time, I just can't bring myself most of the time to actually complete a series, because I finish the book and one of the books in the series and I end up reading something completely different, and then I kind of just put it to the past. But here I am. I want to talk about the book series that I actually want to finish, and hopefully maybe I'll make it a little goal to actually read a couple of these books and go forth in the series. I wrote down an order of, I went down my Goodreads to see what book series I was, because there's some that I'm not interested in, and maybe I'll make a video about that, because that's a whole other thing. Books that I will never revisit. Let's just start wherever I'm gonna start. The first one is the most recent series that I have read from. I read the first book in this series. That is The Three-Body Problem by Cixin Liu. I'm not exactly sure if that's how I pronounce the name. Sorry if I'm butchering it. This one is a science fiction series. I was going to say book. Well, it is. The book is science fiction, but the series is also science fiction. But we're here for this series. There are, as far as I know, 3 books in this series. I think there's some offshoot books as well. I think I have one of the offshoot books, but I also have the rest of the series, because I was reading this and I was like, I just need to buy the whole thing because it's so freaking good. This follows, it's on Earth, modern day. There is something weird going on. This one guy starts experiencing these weird patterns in the world, and the patterns end up being aliens. I feel like the back kind of tells you this, but it's also, there's a video game that's happening in this book as well, so it's very not Ready Player One, but it has that video game world interspersed with the real world. And it also has a lot of history. It takes place in China. This is Chinese science fiction, and I'm just really interested in seeing where it goes, because it's a big commentary on humanity and what would you do if you're looking at us right now and how we are treating the earth, and whether or not are we worth it. I mean, I'm not here to tell you what I think. I mean, I guess I am. I don't know. I think there are interesting points on both sides. I see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I don't think that we should completely abandon humanity. So hopefully I will pick up the next one soon, seeing as I have it. I've just heard the second one, the translation isn't as good, but then the third one has Ken Liu as the translator again. So the second one, I heard it's a little weird. Next one on my list is, I only have this one in the series, it's the Wayward children series. This is about children who have gone to these weird magical lands and have come back. It kind of sounds like Miss Peregrine's home. So these children come back and they're just not ready to function in the normal world. And this isn't a big known thing or anything. It is the parents are oh, my child was abducted, and they end up going to this home. And the home is specific, but the person who owns the home is seeking out people who this has happened to. Each book follows a different child, and it's interesting to see the kind of whether or not they're grasping on to normal everyday stuff, or if they're going to be stuck in the mindset. Some of them are inside of the world, some of them are at that home. It's either or. And I got to the third one, and I think there's 7 or 8 in this series. So I really want to keep reading them. They're very short. I don't know why I flipped the entire book. Very short books. Very enjoyable. I wouldn't call them young adult or anything, or children's. They're definitely closer to adult fiction that has children in it. Not so much for a younger audience. The next one is Xenogenesis by Octavia E. Butler. I read Dawn, which was the first one in this series, and I really enjoyed it. It is science fiction. This one also goes back to the idea of like humanity, but also using people to get your own gains. The premise is just so weird. So these people are captured from Earth and taken captive. This alien race, they're using the humans to create a better human that doesn't have so many issues. What they do is they have this like the alien has no sex, agendered. And the alien mates with a female and male human in order to create a new human. Also, they're like tentacle aliens. And it is weird. It is really weird. It sounds like it'd be pornographic. It's not really. Like, it's not like that. And it's very much so like trust and like learning about other like people and being open to other cultures as well. Yes, very good. Next up, the Neapolitan series. So I have the whole collection because it's beautiful, and I asked my mom to buy it for me for Christmas a couple years ago because I was like, this is so pretty. And I read the first two, but I need to go back. It looks like it'd be a romance, but it's not. This takes place in Naples, Italy, and it follows these two friends from the point that they're like little children. So this one is their actual like children, and then up until they're like older. I think they're in their like 60s. Like the intro is they're in their 60s, and one of them has gone missing, and it's just their lives, their loves, their politics, their beliefs, their education, just everything. And it is beautiful. It's wonderful. It's like heartbreaking. So I need to finish that series. Two more books. Stormlight Archives by Brandon Sanderson. I do really enjoy this. This is an epic fantasy. It is very long though, and when I had listened to it as an audiobook, and I was listening to it on CD. It was too much to pay attention to and too much going on. I don't know why I keep looking down. I have a sticker in my hand, sorry. So it was too much going on, and I felt like I want to go back and revisit the first book in the series because I did pick up the second book and start physically reading it, and I was like, there's just so many characters and it's hard with the names. And I have a friend who's like, you obviously didn't like it because you didn't pick up the second one. And I was like, it does not mean that. It just means I'm bad at reading series. And also I want to revisit this one. So maybe I'll do like revisit all the really long series also just read long series because I want to read Priory Over the Orange Tree. So Chronicles of Amber. This one's by Roger Zelazny. I read the first book in this series. This is the first 10 books in the series, or the only 10 books. It is a wild ride, very trippy, like fantasy and real world. And it has this, I don't know, there's so many different feelings to this, like a Who Framed Roger Rabbit sort of. That's the feeling between the real and like the fantasy world. And you're following this prince of Amber who has lost his memory, and he is in the real world and he's being held captive, and he goes to escape. That's like the first book, and he's trying to go back to Amber, and he does, and it is crazy. I was really enjoying it. They're quite short. This one's like kind of has like those fantasy dynamics, but also it's like a quest, it's a search, it's just an epic story. The next one is The Magicians, and that is by Lev Grossman. I love the TV show. The TV show is so freaking good. I still haven't finished the last season. I did start rewatching that recently, but I had picked up this book because I love the show so much, and it is so good. The show is kind of an inspiration of the book. The book inspires the show. So it's not an exact copy. So I've had people who have read the book be like, I freaking hated the show. And it's because it's not exactly like the book, because they do take liberties of changing characters and such. So this follows this one guy. His name's Quentin Coldwater. They call him Q. And he is just a normal guy, but he has been obsessed with this like series of books that are like almost like a Harry Potter in his world. And the book itself is almost like a Chronicles of Narnia. It turns out magic is real, and he is taken into this school where he learns about magic. It turns out that also this fantasy world that he had been reading about was real too. So it's so crazy. And it's got like that school dynamic, but it's not just a younger kid or something. He's like in college, and in the show he's in grad school. We're watching older people, not older, but you know what I mean. It's not children that this is going on with. So I like that. It's kind of a good crossover if you like fantasy novels that are more young adult, but you want to broach into the adult realm. Magicians is probably a good choice for you. There are 3 books in the series. Really excited to read more. The Dark Tower series, I do have the 4th one up there. I could hold it up, but it is an ugly cover, so we're not going to do that. So I got to the 4th one. This is Stephen King's series that's kind of like the backbone to a lot of his books, and the whole idea of like, where does Pennywise come from? Where does this come from? Whenever there's some sort of supernatural element, it ties into the Dark Tower. Same with like Joe Hill's books tie into the Dark Tower a little bit, like the Treehouse and Horns. Dark Tower is this epic story following Roland and his whole quest thing. So the first one, Gunslinger, is kind of boring. It's like Roland's backstory, and he's like being pursued by the gunslinger, and you're just like, okay, get on with it. I know people really love that one. I didn't. And then the second one and the third one are really good. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, we're being introduced to new characters, new concepts. We're kind of getting more of the idea of what is the Dark Tower and what's happening here. And then the 4th one, Roland is telling a story, and the whole book is Roland telling a story of his past. And I'm like, didn't we already go here in the Gunslinger, and now we're back again? Like, this is kind of reminiscent of what I don't want. Sorry, the dog's barking. We're just gonna, it's because my roommate just came home. I can't with it. I can't. I want to go back and revisit it, but I feel like once it's been a long enough amount of time, it's almost like I'd like to go back and revisit the whole thing, which is even scarier than just picking up the 4th one. So we'll see what happens. Next is Ring, and this one is what the movie Ring is based off of. It is a Japanese novel that is about this VHS tape that it, like, if you watch it, you're gonna die in 7 days. And so this is the actual book it's based off of, and it was really entertaining, very weird, beautiful cover. I love this cover. I just never got around to reading the rest of the series. Actually, really do want to pick this up again. Maybe someday. That's all I'm gonna say, but maybe someday I will, because I really do plan on doing that. I want to. Special mentions, Akotar. I enjoyed the first book. There is like this whole mystery, like weirdness going on. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, Sarah J. Maas, she's blah, 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 she's blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But I do want to finish this book series. I enjoyed it, you know, I enjoyed this first book, but then I picked up the second book in a time of I was not having a good time, and I was reading slump galore happening, so I want to go back and revisit it and actually get to enjoy this book itself, or like this whole series. I have the first 3, this one, 2 others, and I think there's a 4th book. Oh, what's it about? So this is a fantasy, and there are like fairies that live on the north side of this like place, and the humans live on the south side, but the humans are kind of like have this pact with the fairies, because the fairies will could murder all the humans, because the fairies are like real strong and stuff. They're scary, and it's about this girl that ends up killing a fairy, and then she gets sent to fairy world because she killed a fairy, and it's like kind of a romance, but I don't know. The last honorable mention, A Series of Unfortunate Events. I have 2 books left in that series. Ugh. Like, I'm very close. There's like 13 books in the series, and I didn't read 2 of them. I was reading them a couple years ago because I didn't read them as a child. I think my brother did, but I just never picked it up. And then I started reading it a number of years ago, and I was like, oh, this is actually pretty good, and I was enjoying it. And then I was in like a library war with this one girl who she kept taking the book out and not reading it, like the 12th book or something. And then I kept taking the 12th book out and not reading it. And then we kept going back and forth and putting it on hold against each other, but neither of us were reading the book. And I was like, okay, I really need to rethink what I'm doing with my life, because let her keep the book, the library book, and actually read it. But I was like, I'm not actually going to buy this book. I'm not going to buy the 12th book in a series. That's crazy. Like, I could, but I'm not going to. So, whatever. So, those are all the series that, that's the end. That's the end of the video, okay? We went through a lot of series. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I feel like I always count. I have a little list. Okay.